The big story this evening, India has a new labour law regime in place. 29 colonial-era laws have now been repealed or rationalised into 4 new labour codes. The stated aim is to modernise the legal framework, extend social security to a wider workforce and ensure universal wage protection. However, trade unions affiliated with opposition parties have announced nationwide protests. So how do the new labour codes change the labour landscape? Let's focus on some of the big changes. First up, the central government will be fixing what it calls, and I quote, the floor wage, taking into account minimum living standards across geographies. States, however, will have the power to fix the minimum wage rate, which shall not be lesser than the floor wage fixed by the centre. So that becomes the floor. States can do more than that, but not lower than that if they like. Second, this has been a major bone of contention for trade unions. The law gives smaller companies more flexibility when it comes to laying off workers. Companies that employ more than 100 people needed government approval before laying people off. That threshold has now been increased to companies that employ over 300 people. Number 3, the gratuity eligibility timeline has been eased as well. Fixed-term employees who have completed a year of continuous service are eligible for gratuity. Earlier, the provision mandated 5 years of service. And lastly, the new code gives gig workers, people who work for the likes of Zomato, Swiggy, etc., legal recognition. This had been a long-standing industry demand. Platform companies could, however, see short-term financial impact on account of it. Let's now bring you a sector-by-sector analysis of the new codes. My colleagues are standing by, Reema, Shilpa and Sonal here with us to decode what the new labour codes mean for different sectors. Sonal, to you first. Real estate is a labour-intensive sector. How is the real estate sector reading into these developments? What is the likely impact?
That's right, there will be an impact on real estate industry and buyers as well because of changes that we are seeing in the labour laws. Now do remember, labour costs are different for different cities. For something like a Mumbai, we have more percentage going to land costs in the total developmental cost versus a city like Hyderabad where labour costs will be higher. On an average, labour costs are anywhere between 15 to 30% of the total developmental cost for a real estate builder. And also if we talk about cost X of land, it is anywhere between 20 to 25% of the total construction costs. Now, what would the impact be of these changes? Now, we spoke to ANAROC. They indicated that labour costs would increase by 10 to 15% due to these new laws, and of the total developmental costs, it would mean an increase of 3 to 4%. Would the developers be able to absorb that? Not really, because their balance sheets are very stretched currently, and they will not take it on their P&L as well. And these costs will be passed on to the buyers, so there could be an impact of 3 to 4% on buyers' buying costs as well. We also spoke to Knight Frank, and they said that shortage of labour has been a serious issue in the real estate industry, and if these labour laws are implemented, there could be a massive shift. The labour shortage could not be an issue anymore, and it will be solved for this industry. However, he did indicate that yes, this implementation by builders could take more than a year, and to formalise this process as well completely. So this could be the impact of these new labour laws on the real estate industry, ultimately coming down to the buyer cost as well.